Hello and welcome once again to another video session in chemistry. Today we are going to start another video series that will have a title Name Reaction. Just like we had another series Organic Reaction Mechanism, from today onwards we will have another playlist subject that is a name reaction, different name reactions. Today's name reaction will be Reimer-Tiemann reaction, although this is taught in class 12 in India, maybe class 11 elsewhere, but it's a very important reaction which has aroused a lot of interest world over, despite the fact that chloroform produces a lot of environmental problems. Many countries have attempted to ban the use of chloroform, not India, and many other, even European countries, they still bank on the Reimer-Tiemann reaction to get salicylaldehyde and other products. Now let us start from the beginning, and I assure you, we will be doing first the basics that will be needed for a class 11, 12 student for the examination purpose. But also we'll be having a lot of extra information about RT reaction, as we call it, Reimer-Tiemann RT reaction, which will be not only beneficial to a student who is aspiring for advanced level, but also for teachers who are teaching the students. I have given you here a lot of information with the corresponding source, the references, the data. Let us start. In fact, in the beginning, in 1876, when Carl Reimer and Ferdinand Tiemann, they invented the method of orthoformulation of phenol. Phenol was converted to salicylaldehyde, orthohydroxybenzaldehyde, by this process. By reacting phenol with chloroform in excess of strong base, aqueous strong base, actually the reaction gave a mixture of ortho and para hydroxybenzaldehydes, with the former being the major product. That means ortho, salicylaldehyde. Although the yield was poor, the ortho isomer could be separated easily from para by steam distillation. You know, there is a possibility of intramolecular H bonding, hydrogen bonding, which will be used to separate ortho isomer easily by steam distillation process. At that time, chromatography, gas chromatography was not invented, so the separation techniques were very, very crude at that time. Now this was what, even in some texts, para has not been included. Only phenol is formulated at the ortho position, giving salicylaldehyde. That's it. In many texts you may find the para product is missing out totally. Yes, undoubtedly. In the beginning, in 19th century, when it was invented, they were perhaps more interested in salicylaldehyde for its versatile application in perfume industry, in medicine industry, and all other different requirements. That is why they might have neglected this product and many other products also. They did not have the means to isolate other minor products. So that was their intention. It was major. The yield was not good. Other products, star and other things, they didn't want. They somehow could isolate by steam distillation salicylaldehyde. They are happy. Now let us talk how it happens. It is a biphasic system. Aqueous phase, water and chloroform phenol, they do not mix So they constitute two different phases. So at that time, a constant stirring, mechanical stirring, then subsequently magnetic stirring, that was being carried out, so that the two phases will always mix very fast and the reaction to proceed. Even then the yield was not encouraging at all. Say 40, 45, 50% yield. That's good enough. Now the actual process was, the phenoxide ion was first prepared and then chloroform was added. First phenoxide was prepared by adding phenol with excess alkali. When phenoxide was prepared and excess of alkali is still there, they were adding chloroform. And then they were getting, after some time, maybe few hours of heating at a particular temperature, maybe 35, 40, 45, at that time they were using maybe 35, 40. So for some time they were getting the salt of salicylaldehyde, because phenolic OH is acidic, and on acidification, acid work up, they were getting neutral as salicylaldehyde. And as a matter of fact, at low concentration of NaOH, both the ortho and para isomers are formed in appreciably high proportions. Even sometimes para is greater than ortho, if the concentration of NaOH was low. But at higher concentrations of NaOH, the ortho isomer, that is salicylaldehyde, percentage increased, and it is the major product. The other byproducts which Riemer-Tiemann did not isolate, I am just saying because we will be discussing about it later when it was really isolated. Orthoformic ester, triphenyl orthoformate, this PHO3CH, and tris orthohydroxy or parahydroxyphenyl methane, these are TARs. In the actual experiment, first the phenolate ion or phenoxide ion is prepared by reacting phenol with excess NaOH, and then chloroform was added. I was just talking about that. The mechanism of the reaction was confirmed only in 19th century. I'm sorry, 20th century. In 1959, it was confirmed by Hein and van der Veen. I have given all the references, and in the description box you will find the entire the PDF file of the entire paper, which you can read. Particularly the teachers can benefit from these collections. He actually, Hein and this van der Veen, they proposed the mechanism with a convincing amount of authenticity. But they were not 100% sure, but they were convinced. Because for 100 years it was thought that it is an SN2 reaction like this. Phenoxide ion is attacking at the ortho position because ortho carbon is more nucleophilic than oxygen site, and therefore since the product was ortho hydroxy, then they had no choice than to say that the enolate ion is not, the phenoxide ion is not attacking as nucleophile, but rather its carbanion counterpart at the ortho position is attacking. But why ortho? Silent. To chloroform itself. Chloroform is the substrate and this is the nucleophile, and 3 successive SN2 reaction will produce, not 3, 1 SN2 reaction will produce this, and the deprotonation will produce the phenoxide, and then a subsequent SN2 on carbon. In this step, phenoxide was the nucleophile, and in this step there will be 2 successive SN2 and the nucleophile now will be OH minus to replace this Cl, and ultimately there will be a dehydration from the geminal diol to form the hydroxide. But only Hein could completely change the concept with evidence, with lot of experiment, kinetic study, supported by a lot of experiments. He could prove that the mechanism is not SN2. It is something else. It involves a dichlorocarbon or a carbon intermediate. A methylene, dichloromethylene carbon intermediate is involved. He proved it. Then he said it is a typical addition elimination type of substitution. It's not like the conventional electrophilic substitution in aromatic compounds that involves the formation of rhenium positive ion, resonance stabilized rhenium positive ion. No, it's not like that. It is first an electrophilic addition. The nucleophile, which is the phenoxide ion or phenolate ion, attacks the electrophile, which is a carbene. Then subsequently a proton is lost to bring about aromatization. Now see how interestingly the evolution has happened. It is typical addition elimination type of substitution involving electrophile dichloromethylene carbon. There will be of course a lone pair. It is understood there is a lone pair. And the nucleophile, which is the carbanion of the phenolate ion, phenolate ion, the O minus site is less nucleophilic. So when it will attack as a nucleophile to the electrophile, it will add, I don't say it's SN reaction. It will attack to the carbon electrophile, then it will attack from the carbon side. It is more nucleophilic. But why ortho? Why not para? It was not known at that time. Now Hein proposed the mechanism. It is not like the conventional ARAC, because no rhenium ion is formed in this case. A high concentration of OH minus at high concentration of OH minus, the ion pair, that is very important. The ion pair O minus Na plus, this is resonance stabilized, no doubt, but Na plus, this ion pair, that is the key, is strong. The interaction, because at high concentration there is not enough water to disperse it out or to reduce the Debye-Huckel interionic attraction. There is considerable interionic attraction. So Na plus is very close to the O minus. That is very strong interionic attraction. Ion pair interaction is strong at concentrated OH minus, and the electrophile carbene shows orthoselectivity. Why? Because if the charge will be smeared to para position, it will be a large charge delocalization. The charge separation will not allow Na plus to stabilize the phenoxide ion. So to have a strong attraction between the negative ion and positive ion, the negative ion should not go far away from the site from which it is created. It is created at O by the loss of proton, by the base. So it should not go far away, because Na plus is not going anywhere. It is here with oxygen. So at the most it will go to the ortho position. So the charge separation is less. But had it been para, the charge separation would have been more. Then Na plus cannot allow to happen to release the electron density to such a long distance. Therefore, the carbanion from the ortho position attacks the dichlorocarbon. That is why it is called orthoselectivity is found at higher OH minus ion concentration. So the product salicylaldehyde is the major product. This is due to shear electrostatic effects. Since carbon center is more nucleophilic, I was telling, than the oxygen center, because it is more basic, carbanions are more basic than oxide ions, the phenolate ion or phenoxide ion preferably attacks as a carbanion at the ortho position. But at a lower OH minus ion concentration, the ion pair interaction is very weak, because a lot of water will dispel, will separate the sodium ion or potassium ion from the phenoxide ion. It will go further apart. So the interaction, the ion pair attraction will decrease, will be weak. And the carbanion at the para position also attacks. At that time, the negative charge on oxygen can be delocalized to the farthest extent also. In addition to ortho attack, para attack also happens in appreciable quantity. In such case, para hydroxybenzaldehyde is formed in appreciable quantities, sometimes predominantly, because even then there is some amount of steric effect at the ortho position. Even if the probability factor, the statistical factor 2 will definitely go with as an advantage, even then para sometimes becomes the major product at lower alkali concentration. Now, the mechanism of the RT reaction or Reimer-Tiemann reaction, which you as a student should learn, this is directly from the Hein mechanism. In different literature, you find some little difference you will find, but this is most genuine because of the reason I'll tell you. See, first, the chloroform is subjected to alpha elimination in 2 steps. Alpha means from the same carbon 2 leaving groups go. First, H plus ion is removed by the base to produce trichloromethyl carbanion. This step is passed, and the second step, chloride ion goes, the leaving group chloride ion goes to produce a neutral dichlorocarbene or dichloromethylene carbene intermediate, and we can call it a E1CB alpha elimination. In our conventional beta E1CB, this first step is rate determining, slow, but in this case the second step is slow and it is first order. So you can also call it E1CB, but it is alpha elimination to give you a carbene. Then in the meanwhile, phenol reacts with OH minus to produce its salt, phenoxide ion, but it remains as an ion pair. That is the key, as an intimate ion pair, strong attraction. So this phenoxide ion attacks from the ortho position, the reason I told you, ortho selectivity, the reason I told you, and it forms this compound. This comes here, pi bond attacks, and since carbon is the acceptor, so it will gain a formal negative charge. The lone pair will remain as such, and there will be a double bond here, and the Na plus will come as a counter ion and remain intimate with this carbanion, right? And then the crucial step comes where in many literature you will find there is a proton transfer from the benzene ring here, so that a double bond comes here. I'm sorry, this comes here, so the proton goes here, it becomes CH, and this 2 comes here and this comes here, so there will be minus here, aromatic ring, and there is CH, right? But if we do so, then we are forgetting later on in 20th century when this dichlorocyclohexadienone product was isolated. You cannot account for the formation of this product unless you show it as an intermediate in the mechanism. Therefore, this carbanion will pick up proton from water, because already water is there. OH minus has removed a proton and has become water, and plenty of water is there in the mixture. So it removes a proton and becomes neutral, not by this intramolecular proton transfer, but by accepting proton from water, it becomes neutral. And this is a neutral intermediate which at the time of Riemann and Tiemann could not be isolated, but later on, when in 20th century, when spectroscopy came into the human research arena, then it was possible to detect, even for a transient formation, a small time, a particular intermediate is formed, it can be detected spectroscopically and also can be isolated. In other substituted compound, it has been isolated, and also in this compound also it has been isolated, right? Now this is the intermediate, cyclohexadienone intermediate, dichloro is there. Then what happens? Then deprotonation occurs by a base, and then it comes to this position, this carbon. So there is a carbanion again at the ortho position, and which is in resonance with its enolate ion. So this comes here and you have O minus. You could have directly taken these two electrons to form a pi bond here and delocalize the pi electron to form a oxide ion. You could have done that. From here to here you could have done and then shown the resonance. But it is always better to go for a 1 arrow-mark pattern to form a carbanion here, and then a 2 arrow-mark pattern to show you the aromatic structure. So these are the two resonance structures. In many literature in the mechanism, you don't find this carbanion. You will find that this proton is removed by base, and this sigma bond turns into a pi bond, and this pi bond is polarized to produce a oxide ion, this one direct. And then what happens? This comes in many literature, even in Google source, Wikipedia, you will find that OH minus ion attacks to remove chloride ion. No, it is the lone pair on oxide ion comes here, this comes here, and chloride ion goes. So that a neutral compound, again cyclohexadienone with a alkylidene group is formed. Of course, this intermediate has not been isolated, but has been proved later on. I'll tell you the fascinating quantum mechanical density calculation. Then you will find that this is definitely one of the passing phases, double bond. Then OH minus ion attacks, then it goes and this goes, so that you get the phenoxide ion once again with one chloride gone. From the dichloro compound, one chloride gone. Then there is internal intramolecular proton transfer to this. This comes, this bond breaks and becomes a pi bond, and another chloride ion is lost. So the loss of another chloride ion minus Cl minus, that gives you a neutral salicylaldehyde. But because there is excess of OH minus ion, this will remain in the form of salt, salicylate ion, salicylaldehyde ion, phenoxide ion. And then acid workup, adding conc HCl, then it protonates the phenoxide ion, and then you get this compound. You also similarly para compound, same way mechanism can be written for the para and the ortho para and the other products which I have not yet told you. They are all extracted by an organic solvent, and then they are subjected to, at that time, distillation process, removing the solvent, then converting, fraction, first undertaking normal distillation, that is fractional distillation, then steam distillation to separate ortho from para. That time I'm showing you the formation of salicylaldehyde. This one you can't see because this part is protruding outside, so I must write like this. This is CHO, right? This is CHO, aldehyde group. Now in the Wikipedia, now see what is the mistake. I don't agree because that does not explain the intermediate formation. There is no such cyclohexadienone attacks. This part is okay. This comes and ortho attack happens. This is okay. But there is an intramolecular proton transfer, so that directly it has got this one, as we have got this one here. And then there is no double bond, and then this double bond compound is not there. So what it has done, then OH minus ion goes for a nucleophilic ascent to attack and expels one chloride ion. OH now joins. Again, this OH, this bond is responsible to expel another Cl minus. So in no case the substitution, chloride ion substitution process involves the oxide ion of phenolate. Only the first one with this one. Now the first one, yes, with the first one with OH minus, outside OH minus. The second one is internal this OH group. But in our case, what I showed, there are two chlorine groups. And the first one goes this one from here. The first one goes by the participation of the phenoxide lone pair, not the OH minus, as they say, OH minus expels it out. And then the second one attacks here, OH attacks SN2 and that phenolate ion again, yes, second one is from this OH group. It goes, that happens. But the first, expulsion of Cl minus is not due to a fresh OH minus ion attack, but it comes here and it comes here, this goes. Right? And then a double bond, this compound is formed, and then this is a neutral intermediate is formed, and then it attacks OH minus here to give you the phenolate. So although in your stage when class 11, 12 you are writing in the examination, this can also do, but this is directly from the original source, that is Hein, and with the logic he has and you will find that how this has been corroborated, but with a exotic difference. Instead of carbene, a carbenoid is responsible. That is the latest, I will tell you. Now the mechanism, Hein did a lot of kinetic study. It was found to be a second order. I have not given you the second order rate constant expression. You can find in the description box. I will be giving you the entire Hein paper. You will find the K value, the ortho-para product ratio controlled by ion pair formation. That was mostly done by Brady and Jacobovit. The paper I have given also found that with increase in sodium hydroxide concentration, ortho-para ratio increased. As the ion pair interaction becomes stronger and the electrophile, that is dichlorocarbene, is localized near the phenolate ion, so ortho attack is preferred. The same authors also found that increase in the size of metal ion from sodium to potassium to cesium to a big ammonium ion the percentage of para product increases, OP ratio decreases. This is due to lower ion pair interaction. If it is a bulky potassium ion, more bulky cesium ion, then the attraction becomes less. As a result, the negative charge on oxygen that has a room, has a advantage to be delocalized to the para position, and para attack is equally probable as ortho attack. So both products are formed. Sometimes steric effect will make the para major than ortho. This is due to lowering of ion pair interaction, for which negative charge is more delocalized and para attack becomes significant along with ortho attack. I have given you the Brady and Jacobo bits, not Brandy, Brady and Jacobo bits table, where high concentration of NaOH, KOH, cesium hydroxide and still bulky triethyl methyl ammonium hydroxide, then consistently the orthopara ratio decreases. And when it is cesium, it is almost 1:1. 1:1, almost 0.9. But if it is still bulky triethyl methyl ammonium hydroxide, even para is 2 times greater than ortho. But at lower alkali concentration, irrespective of sodium, potassium, or even the bulky quaternary ammonium hydroxide, the ratio is less. That is, para is more than, convincingly para is more than ortho. Ortho para ratio is less than 1. So from this discussion we know that high concentration favors ortho. Even at high concentration, if you change the metal ion from sodium to potassium, still ortho. But if it is cesium, then 1:1. Then if it is bulky, still bulkier, a quaternary ammonium hydroxide, then para will take the lead. OP ratio will be less than 1, right? In case of lithium hydroxide, these two authors have found that the orthopara ratio should have been more than 2.08, because lithium plus is a smaller sized cation than Na plus. So the ionic attraction ion pair attraction should be still stronger, but he found on the contrary the ratio is 0.9. This is because most of the lithium is lost by the crystallization, precipitation of lithium phenoxide, which is sparingly soluble in the reaction mixture, so that a very few lithium ion remains in the the aqueous phase or the organic phase to carry out the reaction. At that time, there was not the use of a phase transfer catalyst, which will help in transporting the lithium ion, sodium ion, the inorganic ions into the organic phase. At that time only simply aqueous sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, all these were used. Now I'll tell you how it changed, how aqueous medium changed over to non-aqueous medium, and what change in the OP ratio. What is OP ratio? Orthopara ratio. We will know that. Now many other similar substrates have been tried during the 19th century. After Reimer Tiemann invented this, it was also tried with a bulky isopropyl at the ortho position. If ortho position is blocked by a bulky group, then the formulation will occur at the para position. Not at this, because too much of crowding. Now even quinoline, pyridine, pyrimidine, all these having hydroxy group will be ortho formulated. Now see, the same condition, of course higher concentration of NaOH will formulate at the ortho position next to OH. If this is this position, this is this. Had OH been in this position, then the CHO would have been here. So ortho formulated. Even in the absence of OH, in pyrrole also in the same condition, it will, KOH is missing here, NaOH is missing here, the same NaOH condition, you will get corresponding for carboxaldehyde. This is ortho formulated. And this nitrogen lone pair, which is responsible just like OH, hanging, there is no necessity of any hanging plus M group. There is already a lone pair here, minus charge here, which will make the ortho attack from this position. So even in the absence of OH, simple pyrrole will be ortho formulating in the same condition. Here NaOH is missing. Now these things are yield percentage yield was not good at that time. Even a huge molecule like phenolphthalein, which has a phenolic OH group, could be orthoformulated in one ring in the same condition at that time. Even sometimes if one ortho is blocked, then the other ortho is formulated. For example, this is orthohydroxybenzoic acid subjected to the same condition. I have not written here. You are getting 20% out of smaller yield. The major product will be having formulating at the other ortho position, and in some there will be no substitution, and in some few the carboxylic acid group is removed and in its place formulation has occurred. This is simply very interesting results were obtained, and in this case you find in pyrrole this is the carboxylate substituent at the second position. That whole carboxylate is being removed by formyl group. So that interesting formulation, ortho formulation was observed along with the simple phenol formulation giving ortho and para. We knew ortho salicylaldehyde is the only product. No, ortho para. Ortho is measured when there will be more concentrated NaOH or KOH. Even if it is NaOH, KOH, if you are using a very bulky quaternary ammonium salt or even cesium, it will be 1:1, or sometimes it will be less than 1. Para is more. Now, coming to regioselectivity. Why ortho? Why para? We are now discussing normal RT reaction. We have not yet discussed abnormal. The ortho-para ratio is controlled by the following factors. One, we have already discussed the size of lithium ion, size of metal ion. So as the size increases, the ion pair interaction decreases and para substitution becomes more and more pronounced. The lithium data by Brady was not encouraging, because a lot of lithium phenoxide get precipitated and go out of the reaction. Now concentration of alkali, greater the concentration of alkali, ortho-para ratio increases, and vice versa. Nature of solvent, using non-aqueous solvent like benzene, toluene increases the ortho-para ratio. Sometimes the ortho-para ratio can reach up to 7. Use of high pressure, because this is the age of commerce. If you are using for long time for the reaction to be complete means no more further reaction. That means you will be content. You should be happy with that much of yield, maybe poor yield, but waiting for a longer time will not help you to improve the yield. So that is usually called when the reaction is complete. That doesn't mean 100%. 100% is not possible. Now, subsequently, many persons like Smith, Hamada, they made a lot of patents with Dow Chemical Company and European patent, that they could use high pressure. Pressure means chloroform is a volatile liquid, so it can produce indigenous vapor and you can produce high pressure. And raising the temperature from 35-40 to 80-90, optimize the temperature. They could find that the time required becomes very less. 12 minutes is the optimum time for the end of the reaction. And the yield is not that bad, is 50, 55, 60. Now with this condition, using NaOH, water, excess water and chloroform, 100 atmosphere pressure, 80 to 88, he could get the reaction to be complete in 12 minutes. That is the Dow company patent by Smith. Getting a mixture of both. Ortho is the major product in this condition because the concentration of alkali was high. Now, there is a table in that particular paper. I have given all the papers, the Smith patent paper, US patent, where 12 minutes is the maximum time where the yield ortho-para ratio is 1.8:1, and if it is 70 degree, it is 0.9:1. Para is little more. So in most of the cases, either ortho-para is 1:1 or para is slightly greater than, ortho is slightly greater than 1.7, 1.1:1, not 5, 4, 7. That will come 4, 5, 6, 7. That will come when we'll be using PTC. Just hold on. Time has come. Use of phase transfer catalysts, PTC. The use of PTC in the form of surfactants, surface active agents, detergents, soaps, these are commonly called the surfactants. Here, detergents are used. These are phase transfer catalysts because when you are having a reaction in a biphasic system, aqueous phase and the organic phase, chloroform, phenol, that constitutes the organic phase, and aqueous phase, sodium hydroxide is there in the aqueous phase. So when there are two phases which are immiscible, even if you are stirring, nothing much happens. But if something much will happen, then some intermediate agent is responsible to transport the inorganic ions OH minus Na plus into the organic phase, so that the reaction will be, the yield will be more, and this regioselectivity, whether in the favor of ortho or in the favor of para, will be high. That has been found by using PTC, different types of PTCs. PTC transports the reacting ions from aqueous phase to the organic phase, thus enhancing the reactivity. More due to its typical hydrophilic hydrophobic structure, you must be knowing. If you do not know, forget about it. You will study that such a large hydrophobic part, alkyl group, that provides the lipophilic or hydrophobic part, and the polar part, the N plus or SO3 minus, whatever, that will provide its hydrophilic part. So these two parts will be taking crucial role in enhancing the regioselectivity as well as transporting the inorganic species from the aqueous phase to the non-aqueous phase. Non-ionic polyethylene glycol, PEG based, cationic, there are so many types of surfactants which act as PTC. Non-ionic, which are PEG based, cationic, such as quaternary ammonium compounds, tetra, butyl, methyl ammonium chloride, cetryl, this is a long chain, trimethyl ammonium chloride, anionic, amphoteric surfactants. All these four types of surfactants, detergents, can be used as PTC to enhance the yield as also regioselectivity. We shall see. One paper, 4, he claimed that 4 is Newman, Israeli paper. He claimed that this one, using polyethylene glycol as PTC, the para selectivity is greatly enhanced. Through complexation, this is a polymer. This is a polymer. This polymer is prepared by polymerization of ethylene oxide, CH2CH2O. But these are called polyethylene glycol, as if they are the condensation polymers of ethylene glycol. But it is not prepared from ethylene glycol, but they are called PEG, and also called polyethylene oxide or polyoxymethylene, so many names. So this is PEG or this. This is a polyether. Now the polyether is a long chain, partially encapsulates or masks the ortho positions, leaving para position free, more free than the ortho position. As a result, this ion pair is stabilized. This is a must. But even if it is stabilized, then due to steric crowding of the ortho positions by this polyethylene glycol, which is acting as a masking agent as well as a phase transfer agent, which will prevent ortho attack, not prevent, it will diminish ortho attack at the cost of para attack. So the para percentage will be more, not that ortho will be reduced. The ion pair attraction is a more pronounced effect than the encapsulation to reduce the accessibility to the ortho position. You look to it, he is stable. Whose table? This Newman table, that para ortho, here it is para ortho ratio is increased. That means ortho percentage is increased with increase in PEG. Para percentage, I am sorry, para is in the numerator. Para percentage increase. It's not that it is more than ortho. It is increased, even if it encapsulates or masks. But the ion pair attraction to make the ortho more accessible still there until the molar 1:1 mole ratio. So when PEG and phenolate ratio is 1:1 ratio, then forget about the yield. Yield is always poor. Then it is para is slightly greater. Para ortho ratio is 1.1. Right? And if it is sodium, this is potassium. In sodium, since potassium is a larger size cation, then it could exceed 1:1 ratio, it exceeds. But even in sodium, same 1:1 ratio between the PEG, what is the PTC, that is the surface active agent, surfactant, and phenolate ratio. Even then it doesn't exceed 1. So still then the ortho is the major product. Only there is an increase in the percentage of para when you use PEG, and with increase in PEG concentration, the para concentration in the para product concentration increases. Now this is the Dow company, another 1984 patent. That was a 1982 patent. This is a 1984 patent. Hamada, he didn't use aqueous solution. Completely changed. But he used PTC. But he used, first he prepared a sodium phenoxide. First dried it, took pure sodium phenoxide, then treated with a slurry of sodium hydroxide with benzene. It's not soluble, but it is a suspension slurry. Benzene and NaOH slurry. Then added a PTC, phase transfer catalyst, which is again a PEG based, polyethylene glycol based. It's a very typical, I will show you the structure. Twin 80 is its commercial name, small quantity 0.15 gram, chloroform added drop wise till all is added, which is heated for only 3 hours in this 75 to 80 degree. The major product again being ortho. Now PTC is also called polysorbate 80. I am sorry, twin 80 is also called polysorbate 80. This is a non-ionic surfactant, PEG based, and is prepared from 3 things. Polyethoxylated, it is a polyethylene oxide like a PEG, but there are 2 more ingredients. One is this one. This is sorbitan, CS2OH, OH, OH. Then it has been condensed with one polymeric polyethylene oxide part, and this side also polyethylene oxide part, and in this position also polyethylene oxide part, and this also polyethylene oxide part, and this part is again esterified with oleic acid. This is a long chain oleic acid having one double bond. oleic acid. So this is a very long compound, and it has got a very interesting character of further stabilizing the ion pair interaction and make the ortho more dominant, much more dominant than para. I'll show you the table. The ortho-para ratio can be as high as 7. Now this is the table of this Hamada patent, US patent, where all the cases this is 5.7 point. It was invisible, so I wrote it again, 5 point. 6.2 using these are the slurry, benzene slurry. This is the benzene slurry. This is the ether, dibutyl ether sodium hydroxide slurry. This is KOH. In KOH with potassium phenoxide and KOH, it is 4.5. Always potassium sodium means the ortho-para ratio will decrease. In sodium case it was 5-6, but in potassium it is little less, but still ortho is dominant. Again sodium. This is twin 60, and similarly another span 85 is another such PEG based PTC. It is 5.13. This is another quaternary ammonium salt. This is dudecyl trimethyl ammonium chloride. This is quaternary ammonium cationic surfactant, a cationic PTC that will give 7.4. Ortho is more, 7.4 times. Lithium in this condition, earlier in the other example there was an aqueous system. This is slurry, no aqueous system. So here it was 8.4 as expected from a small size anion added with twin 80. That is, I have told you this is PEG based PTC. Then again sodium phenoxide, sodium hydroxide and benzene slurry with the twin, once again twin 80, PEG based PTC, 5.2. Temperature also is given here, and this is potassium based, and the slurry is ethylene glycol and potassium hydroxide slurry. Here the only case where the ortho-para ratio has gone below 1. We are using ethylene glycol without using any surfactant to prove that this PTC surfactant, either it is PEG based, non-ionic surfactant PEG, or quaternary ammonium PEG. Quaternary ammonium compound, quaternary ammonium salt, which is acting as PTC. In all these cases, ortho selectivity is very, very high. If you are interested for salicylaldehyde, this method is much more acceptable than other methods. But if you don't want ortho, salicylaldehyde you don't want, para you want, then you go other method. You don't use these things. You use another, I also use cyclodextrin. You use beta cyclodextrin, which is very costly. Therefore, it is done on a solid surface which has been immobilized on a epichlorohydrin. I am not writing the structure of epichlorohydrin surface, so that you can reuse beta cyclodextrin. This as a active agent, surface active agent, gives 100% para. 100% para. If you are interested, use beta cyclodextrin. And this 6, who is the 6? Komiyama and Hirai, Japanese, they have got 100%. We are almost at the end of our program. 100% para selective by using beta cyclodextrin. After all, what is beta cyclodextrin? It is nothing but a cyclic oligosaccharide containing 7 glucose units. Glucopyranose units, if you have not studied the chemistry of biomolecules like carbohydrates, monosaccharides, forget about it. This is a glucose unit. And there are 7 glucose units are connected by 1,4 glycosidic linkage. You don't have to bother much. You will understand. So this huge cyclic compound with a lot of polyether linkage, a lot of carbon having hydrophobic and hydrophilic part, they will make the ortho almost sterically hindered and will not allow the ion pair interaction to happen, so that para is the only place where attack will be taking place. 100% para. Mechanism of the formation of other byproducts. I told you the tar product, that is formed. At that time it was not isolated, but later on it was isolated phenyl orthoformate and tris hydroxyphenyl methane. So if this is the first compound after the attack of this is the first intermediate whose hydrolysis will give you the salicylaldehyde. If this will go for attack, another phenoxide ion goes for a ortho attack, and there is a SN2 mechanism, then another, and there is a deprotonation, then you get dihydroxyphenyl methane. Then another phenoxide ion with ortho attack, SN2, will give you trihydroxy or tris hydroxyphenyl methane. With acidification you will get this compound. This is the tar product which is formed, and also a small amount of orthoformic ester is formed by the SN2 of the phenoxide ion, whose possibility is very, very less than 1% product is formed, because O center is less nucleophilic than carbon center. So of course it happens continuously. Chloroform involves in the SN2 continuously 3 times. One time, second time, and I have written without having patience, I have written 2 phenoxide ions successively will go for SN2 to produce this orthoformic ester, this acetal. And another European patent which came in 1986, same Hamada was there and other authors were there, using cationic surfactants. He used, the same authors, this Hamada also used, quark here. This is a quaternary ammonium compound, but in this he used invariably all quaternary compounds. BAC is nothing but benzyl ammonium chloride, triethyl benzyl ammonium chloride. So this Cl has to be removed from here. I am so sorry. Benzyl ammonium, this is the general name of the quaternary ammonium compounds, the surface active agents, surfactants, or the PTCs having benzyl group, but others are variable. This is here triethyl benzyl ammonium chloride. This BAC. BAC means benzyl ammonium chloride. A very, very small quantity, 0.002, and the percentage of aqueous, here again aqueous solution. In this previous case it was non-aqueous solution, but in this case it is aqueous solution, not slurry form. Is another patent where they have also found high orthopara. Sal means salicylaldehyde, POAB means para hydroxybenzaldehyde, that is called POBA. It has been already given before that SAL stands for salicylaldehyde and POBA para hydroxybenzaldehyde, right? So the ratio is quite high in this case, coming to 7.4. This is another patent using BAC, invariably BAC, this one. And he also used another anionic lauryl betaine glycine type of amphoteric surfactants, again BAC with using the different concentrations of alkali, NaOH, and the some organic solvent was also used. Aqueous solution was used. This is NaOH, and he also found that the ratio is more than 1. The only case where you used lauryl and betaine, surface active agent, and using benzene solvent, the ratio went below 1. And also here he used anionic surfactant, sulfonate, dudecyl sulfonate. This is again quaternary ammonium compound, N is there, quaternary ammonium compound, quaternary ammonium, all these benzyl group is there, not yes, benzyl group. These are all BACs, different types of BACs, and the solvents are different, organic solvents are different, and again he found more than 1. Ortho salicylaldehyde is major. So a lot of data I have given you so that to authenticate, but now comes the climax in. This in fact was the turning point. When I went through this paper, I was so happy that in 2011, a group of Japanese scientists, they could prove the mechanism which corroborated to a large extent proposed by Heim, but a small difference. And he could justify why ortho, why ion pair interaction is important. Earlier it was just a prediction, and there was many conflicting stories coming from different quarters why ion pair interaction is important. He proved unequivocally that ion pair interaction is the key for the ortho formulation as well as para formulation. In this paper, they used. Now, before that, let us talk about, abnormal Reimer-Tiemann reaction. I was just jumping little ahead. Abnormal Reimer-Tiemann reaction, that was key to confirm the mechanism. Dichloroketones, I have already told you that if it is ortho substituted, then they have found a dichloro, this CaCl3, because there was a hydrogen here that could aromatize. But there is no hydrogen. When the ortho attack will happen, even if there is a CH3 group, you will get this compound. And sometimes this cyclohexadienone dichloro compound is the only product if it is ortho-para substituted. Now see how interesting. This is the dienone product. No no salicylaldehyde, no para-hydroxybenzaldehyde, but you are getting a cyclohexadienone dichloro compound, this compound. This proves beyond doubt that a carbene intermediate is involved, not CHCl3, a nucleophilic attack as they were thinking for 100 years. It is a nucleophile electrophile addition followed by elimination of proton. Now even 3 methyl groups are there, 2, 4, 6 trimethylphenol, that also give you a mixture of ortho and para cyclodienone. Cyclohexadienone compound was formed, right, with a large yield. So that was abnormal. And even some ring expansion products were found. Same condition, Reimer-Tiemann condition, this is pyrrole potassium salt with bromoform ether. It gave this, 3-bromopyridine ring expansion. Even this compound underwent a ring expansion to give you a naphthalene compound. And also there can be 2 aldehydes, successive ortho and para, 2 ortho. These were also found out. Of course, this cannot be called abnormal product. They are normal products because they are formulation. But there is no formulation here in this abnormal product. This is dienone formation and this is ring expansion. But this is another set of products, small quantities. Yes, I was talking about this, Yamabe and Fukuda. This is the reference 10. I have given you the entire paper, not the entire paper with data that they have used quantum mechanical calculation, what is called DFT calculation, density functional theory calculation, to justify the formulation mechanism. And while doing that, they found something different. They have established the crucial role played by Na plus, K plus or any other metal ion, which not only stabilize the phenoxide ion, which was earlier the concept, by ion formation, but also, I repeat, but also coordinates with the carbon, with the carbene, but also coordinates with the carbene to form carbenoid, which intervenes only transiently in the mechanistic path. So the reaction is not going via carbene, but carbenoid. Let me tell you what is a carbenoid. Carbenoid is a neutral compound which acts like a carbene during reaction, but it's not a carbene. It acts like a carbene, like the Simon-Smith reagent in Simon-Smith reagent. When you a reaction in which you add zinc with methylene chloride, CH2I2 zinc. So zinc is inserted, so you get I, CH2, ZnI. This is the carbenoid. There is no lone pair. But when it reacts, zinc iodide goes and it acts like a carbenoid. So such a thing is happening here. True carbene is forming a carbenoid, so which intervenes transiently in the mechanistic path. Interestingly, sodium potassium coordinates with dichlorocarbene. That's the beauty. You might be thinking this is electrophilic, this is also electrophile, how they will coordinate. But mind you that there is still a lone pair. So there is a coordination between these two, enhance its electrophilicity. The combination will enhance its electrophilicity towards the phenoxide ion by forming a carbenoid. Metal ion also stabilizes the phenoxide ion and also the carbanion intermediates of the substituted phenoxide. I will show you that. By means of hexagonal pyramidal coordination, all the carbon atoms of the benzene ring will be coordinated simultaneously with the sodium ion or potassium ion. So that coordination will be there, as well as some of the sodium ion will coordinate with dichlorocarbene to form the carbenoid. Hence the metal ions are indispensable for RT reaction. That was the feeling. That was the feeling long ago, but it was confirmed by quantum mechanical calculation that without metal ions participation, the regioselectivity ortho or para cannot be described, and moreover the intermediate also cannot be described like that. Now this is the carbene they are proposing for, their calculation has proposed for. This is CCl to our usual dichlorocarbene, but it is now with chloride ion and Na+, the strong interaction between Na+, Cl- and this lone pair. This combination is called a carbenoid. Now this one, Na+, CCl2, Na+ CCl2 and Cl-, this is a carbenoid. Now the mechanism is now little changed. Now phenol is subjected to an alkaline treatment to give you phenoxide ion. This means Na+ and O- forms an intimate ion pair, although I- is delocalized, but very less delocalized because it is forming a strong intimate ion pair, and it has got another resonance structure where this orthocarbon attacks, because the Na+ will not allow extensive delocalization, rather it will try to make charge separation limited, so that orthocarbon attacks the carbenoid. And this is the rate determining step, RDS rate determining step to form this compound. Now Na+ coordinates forms ion pair with this carbanion. It was forming ion pair with this carbanion, now with this carbanion. Now this step is unlikely. So this is forming, but not via this transition state, as I'll show you. Rather it is giving this. It is being abstracting H+ from water. I told you that supports the Hein mechanism, not the mechanism I showed you from Google, Wikipedia. No, this C- is abstracting a proton from water and expelling OH- to give you this dienone product, which was isolated even from phenol. Maybe to a very small extent it has been isolated, but when there is a methyl substituent, it's the only product, right? That's the beauty. And then it goes, it forms OH- ion attacks where? Here, and Cl- goes. No, I'm sorry. OH- abstracts this proton, and there is aromatization, and pi bond polarizes to give you phenoxide ion. Both the chlorine atoms are there. They are all supportive of Hein mechanism, but the difference is carbenoid. And I will show you how it is happening, the course, the role of sodium ion, potassium ion, I will show you. Then this is coming here, this is coming here, and Cl- is going. This was proposed by Hein, this double bond. This is a trinone. This is an intermediate, has been proved. That is not found in that Wikipedia. And then OH minus ion is attacking here. The OH minus ion is attacking here, and this is going here, and this is going here, so that you get this phenolate compound once again. Then Na plus is bound to this O minus. Again, there is the lone pair is coming here. This O minus will be taking up H plus, and this bond will come here to form a pi bond, and Cl minus will go. So NaCl will go, and the ortho product is formed. But actually there is one more step. If you have excess OH minus, this will remain as O minus, and then acid workup will make it neutral salicylaldehyde. So this is the hexagonal coordination Na plus is making with all the carbon atoms, and this is the ion pair. Na plus is making a strong ion pair with the delocalized set, making less delocalized if it is a small ion, and if the concentration is more, so that orthoselectivity is more. And here just I am giving this for fun. How they have made DFT calculation they have made. There are so many transition states. There are 8 different transition states. 8 and 9 they are not feasible. So there are TS7. Ultimately it is giving the product. 7 transition states, and this is the RDS, where this compound CCl3 minus and phenoxide ion via a transient carbenoid. Now see, if you are not able to see, you can have a look. This is the carbenoid and this is the phenoxide ion. But it's very transiently. That means this is attacking to CCl3 minus via course. Hein has disproved that CCl3 minus is not involved in the mechanism directly. He has experimentally disproved it's not possible. He is also saying, these guys are also saying the same thing. It is not directly making nucleophilic attack onto CCl3 minus. Rather it is going via carbenoid, and these are the different interactions. How many water molecules are involved, how many, this is the carbenoid, one chlorine is here, one sodium is here. All these interactions they have taken, and their bond distances, and the orthoselectivity has been found to be the correct mechanism. And this proves that this entire calculation, you can have a look. I have given you the entire paper to have a look, the step-by-step analysis and the different transition states to finally give this compound you will find. And these are the improbable transition states. The rate determining step is the reaction of phenoxide ion with the carbenoid, this one. So forget about this interesting models they have shown for their DFT calculation, but this is the overall mechanism. So the two guys, they have unequivocally proved. Of course, if you are a student watching this video, you don't write in your examination carbenoid. It has not come to your textbook, carbene. But if you look to your text, if it is not giving this intermediate, trinone intermediate and dinone intermediate, this one, then something is wrong. That is not to be accepted. So what I have written here, that is for you for general purpose. This one. I have written in my hand, yes, this one. This is dinone and this is trinone. This is not trinone. Which one is trinone? And this double bond. Yes, this one. This is the trinone. I'm showing you once again. Don't worry, we are not in a hurry. We have completed. Dinone, and this is a trinone, this one. Right? So you have to write that. Then it is 100% correct. You can write in manner in which you are asked in your school or in your textbook. But you have to go via the actual paper who have invented. Cannot create by electron transfer, because we are very familiar with electron transfer, you can do, but it has to be corroborated. Dienone product is formed. So H plus ion has to come from water, not the same intramolecular hydrogen transfer. That will not make the dienone possible, right? With this I conclude, and I definitely take this opportunity to thank now all these papers I have given, I mean references, and some of the papers in total I have given. And I really want to record my sincere thanks to the senior PGTs of DAV public schools. Recently I participated in their capacity building program as a resource person. There, particularly this teacher, is a very talented one, Satyavrata Mishra, and many others. They wanted actually to excite me in this topic. In fact, then I decided to go deep into the subject, collected the latest information, so that whatever they were saying, I wanted to verify, and I give with authentic data. So I really congratulate the DAV group, Satyavrata Mishra in particular, and also my son Sakya Tripathi, who is a distinguished, not scientist, is an engineer. I wrongly written, distinguished engineer in a very coveted company in US, Edward Life Sciences, who provided me with the latest paper. This paper of this one, Fukuda and Yamabe, the latest GFT calculation paper, that was not totally available in the net. So I brought it with the help of his friend, who is a professor in some US university. So I also thank Dr. Tripathi. Bye bye. How did you like? If you like this, you put your thumbs up, and if not, subscribe, do it. I'm telling at the end, if you like, if you want, subscribe, and I'll be happy if you do so. Bye bye.